Hey guys, this is Marina and you're watching the weekly forecast for the week between the 3rd of July and the 9th. And this week is going to be very interesting, but at the same time we should be prepared that there can be some kind of tension around us, especially at the beginning of the week, because here you can see actually the situation on Monday. As usual, this is the horoscope with the exact positions of the planets, the degree and the sign. Here are the aspects and here are the astrological elements. So on Monday, we have the moon, the transit moon in Scorpio, and at the same time, the opposition between Mars and Pluto is very exact. Basically, the opposition between Mars and Pluto is absolutely exact on Sunday, but it doesn't matter because we are going to feel the influence probably during the whole week, especially at the beginning. And this is an interesting combination because the moon in Scorpio actually accentuates even more the importance of this aspect, because Mars and Pluto are both the rulers of Scorpio, and the transit moon in Scorpio brings even more energy, intensifies this opposition. And of course, this opposition is a very challenging aspect. These are two extremely strong planets in a different way, of course, but they are both related with our will, with our personal physical power, energetical power. And when there is an opposition, there can be some kind of conflict. And this conflict can include fighting with others, arguing, or having or experiencing some kind of inner conflict. Of course, it depends on the position of this transit in your own horoscope, but generally speaking, there can be a lot of tension, and it might be hard for us to make compromises. And in this situation, of course, Mars is not in a favorable position because Mars in Cancer is in a fall position, which is a weak sign. Cancer is a weak sign for Mars, which means that in some way you may feel, or we all may feel like we don't have enough power. We don't have, enough sources to achieve what we want. Or we may feel like we're a little bit suppressed by somebody else, because the opposition usually includes interaction with another person. So it won't be easy for us to communicate with others. And here, the topics about power and domination are going to be extremely important. So some of us may feel like somebody else is trying to control us, and we can be extremely sensitive about this. And on some level, we may feel like we are incapable to fight against this. At the same time, the opposition in these signs, Cancer and Capricorn, is related also with our sense for security and stability. So all of these conflicts actually can affect how secure, how safe we feel. And of course, it can bring some kind of tension as well. So my advice is, if you really need to, communicate with somebody else or negotiate, you can either try to postpone this for at least the end of the week, or just be prepared that it will be probably a tough conversation. However, if the situation is actually requires fighting with someone, and just insisting on your own opinion, trying to defend your position, then this transit actually just represents your current situation, and you may just try to use it for your benefit, but keep in mind that probably there will be some kind of conflict situation. It's really possible. What else do we have? Actually, it's important to say that at the same time, when the moon is in Scorpio, it makes harmonious aspect with the Sun, Mars, and Mercury in Cancer. And this is at the same time a supportive indication, which means that we can use our intuition. It can really guide us in which direction we should take. Also, it suggests that probably you shouldn't be so direct. Sometimes, Pluto and Scorpio as a sign, they're related with, using some kind of more secretive means. In some cases, even manipulating. Of course, I can't advise you to manipulate others, but you may try to use a more, not so demonstrative approach. For example, try not to tell everything that you think at this very moment, because this may just be the right strategy for you. Try to coordinate the situation without trying to use really strong power, or this to put under control your desire, to insist on what you really want at the moment. Just try to use your intuition. Try to contact with others on an emotional level. This can also be helpful. So, as we said, the moon is in Scorpio on Monday and on Tuesday. So, actually, what I just talked about is relevant both for Monday and Tuesday. After that, on Wednesday and Thursday, the transit moon is in Sagittarius, which is a more optimistic sign, easier sign, related with, some kind of, desire to grow in certain area, or to achieve success, or to learn more. So, traveling, for example, can be very, successful during these days, or, communicating with foreigners, or just trying to learn something new. And generally speaking, we may feel a little bit more optimistic. What else do we have? So actually, just a few days before that, we have Mercury entering Leo. This is on the 5th of July. And when Mercury enters Leo, this is a very good sign position, which can support us to be more open in our communication with others. To be more direct, to be more active, to initiate some conversations. For example, if you need to attract attention from others, this is a great position. It can be related with some kind of work project, or some kind of personal activities, or whatever it is that requires from you to feel more confident, to do something which can be more impressive, and needs to be very to create a strong interaction and impression in other people. At the same time, when Mercury enters Leo, Leo is a sign which is not very good in listening to others. That's why when when Mercury is in Leo, it might be more difficult for us to listen to what others are trying to say. So keep that in mind, because sometimes we may lose some important information because we are not listening to others. And the other thing that's happening is also Venus entering Gemini. This is again around the 5th of July. And Venus in Gemini is, not a strong position, but definitely doesn't bring any kind of tension. Venus in Gemini is related with a little bit more superficial emotions. So they're not so deep, they're not so passionate, they're not dramatic or something like that. They're easygoing, they're light, they're more positive. So in terms of relationships, this is not a bad transit. It can be a good position if you need to communicate more with your partner, if you need a more intellectual approach in terms of relationship or your emotional state, or things that usually we are not so objective because we put more emotions. Now Venus in Gemini can actually help us to see things from another picture, from another perspective, sorry. So also when Venus enters Gemini, I think that in some way it will release the tension from the opposition related with Mars and Pluto. So even if there is still this tension and confrontation, it's not so strong on an emotional level. So it's not so much related with some kind of, you know, close relationships with others or our love life. You know, the topics are a little bit different. Okay, so we said that the moon will be in Sagittarius. Then, of course, it will enter Capricorn. This is on around noon time on Friday. And during Saturday and Sunday, the moon is in Capricorn. There will be again more tension because at the same time we are going to have a full moon on Sunday in Capricorn, Cancer. Of course, this full moon will activate the opposition between Mars and Pluto, even if it's already, you know, not so exact, but definitely we can feel this. And we are going to have another video explaining the full moon in details about each sign. But, you know, you should be prepared that probably there will be some kind of confrontations. We can realize a lot of stuff. We can have a clearer vision in terms of, you know, things related with security, with our safety, what we want from our personal life, what we want from our social life, you know, how to find the balance, what we need to change, and this stuff can be important. But when the moon, so basically the second half of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there are a time when these days are a time when we should be more serious. This is not the best position for, you know, just having fun, because, you know, Capricorn is actually the sign of work related with obligations. So, for example, if you need to take care of something, this is actually going to be a helpful transit for you. So I believe that these were the most important indications that we have during this week. And thank you very much for watching.